to make the perfect adaptation for the environment. It's more of a puzzle game.
Yeah.
And just shows that you want to survive these by, like, what if it was like an online thing where it's like everyone's trying to figure out which version is going to survive this climate better, and you're like, well, and it's kind of by chance sometimes, but you're the survivor, you won, and then now everyone has these traits that you designed. And you're like, oh, great, now we found out that everyone mutated a little differently, but this one prevailed because it just naturally worked with this shit.
Yeah.
The environment just favored this better.
And that's how evolution works. Everyone
and it could be
gets
fun
a bunch
because
of random shit,
it's like a
and
puzzle
the one
game.
That works best is best. Yeah,
that'd be a fun puzzle
like,
situation.
Collaboration. The thing is about like evolution is that it's not fun as like a first player.
No, it really isn't.
Yeah, experience because it's so random. Like you don't.
So that's why, as a multiplayer game, it'd be cool if you had to compete with other people to be like, I need to get better.
Yeah, like as a multiplayer arena where you spawn in with a bunch of different traits and you just have to deal with it.
Like an arena shooter situation. It's weird. like Quake Evolution.
Yes.
Like you're playing Unreal Tournament or Quake, but you have to do. It has a very slight undertone of adaptation and evolution.
Yeah.
But it's just a first-person shooter where your character changes slightly every time.
It's a first-person shooter, but you eat the other players. So, like, like, what if you're not even shooting? Some people could, like, focus on shooting. Some people focus on sneaking up and backstabbing because they have extra sneaky points or whatever.
Sneaky points?
It's TF2, but randomized.
The hell? I thought you wanted to focus on realism. See, now this stuff is cool
points is realism. Get your facts straight.
I think what we figured out here is that a randomized TF2 server is a more accurate simulation of evolution than Spore.
That's true.
Wow, we've truly changed the gaming industry. We're gonna publish this study. It's so revolutionary. Everyone, you were wrong about Spore. It was just TF2 random mode. Guys, we figured it out. I don't think anyone's gonna take you seriously.
Geniuses. That's straight on. Wow, I can't.
You sound like a crazy person.
I mean, like, they still actually study, like, I don't know if you guys heard about the blood plague issue in, like, World of Warcraft a while back. Yeah, the one where, like, the game glitched really bad and, like, everything got out of hand, and this plague that was meant to be, like, a boss battle mechanic escaped into the world proper and started infecting other people and killing them when they were supposed to be unkillable.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
So... like, when you were in a safe area, you're technically not supposed to be able to be targeted by this after you leave the boss cavern, but it happened anyway, so it was basically like a very deadly, fast-spreading disease. They still use player behavior and data from that in epidemiology classes.
Oh my god, wait.
Oh, wow.
You just
what?
Yeah, it was so accurate to how actual people behaved in a plague situation,
You just reminded me. One of my favorite games that has to deal with that kind of subject is Plague Inc.
Yeah,
I played that.
Plague Inc. is very good.
Plague Inc. is awesome.
Plague
I
Inc.
love
is
that.
very good. Yeah,
Kill the whole world.
It's not completely quite accurate, but it's like
it sacrifices.
It's one of those perfect balances of like it's accurate enough, but
it's silly enough to be fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's a really cool strategy sort of thing, and I really like that game. I've completely forgot about it.
Yeah, Plague Inc. is really good.
That's a pretty cool because they cover all the different diseases and how they certain little thing.
Yeah,
and it also has that sort of mutation sort of stuff.
The Neurox swarm makes me really happy because like. It plays on like, okay, well, technically your goal is to kill all of humanity, but like, ideally,
fun subject
to make Plague Inc. the most accurate it could be. You would be online competing with a bunch of other players each with their own DNA points and stuff like that, to invest
Oh,
into
that'd
the
be cool.
disease. And what you want to do is not to exterminate as many people as possible. You want to survive as long as possible before your genes are wiped off or competed away off the map by everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, okay, so, you know, obviously there's like the super virulent ones like Ebola, but Ebola is an outbreak that only occurs like once every like 10 years. And when it does, it makes national news. You know, you don't hear about Ebola outside of like a very small remote region of like inner Africa. Whereas something like the common cold, everyone gets the common cold. I currently have the common cold. You know, so like something like that, something like rhinovirus would be far more successful.
Hey man, you got a rare
something like that would be like far more successful in that situation than Ebola, because what happens is you get the common cold and your symptoms are very mild. You're like, okay, I can deal with this. So you go to class. You chill in class around a whole bunch of other people. You sneeze and cough around a whole bunch of other people who also get the cold, who pick it up, who can spread it to other people because the symptoms aren't so bad, so they don't stay at home and isolate themselves away from everyone else. You know, whereas Ebola, like, you contract it and you're dead. Good luck.
It's like, you know those weird character selection things where you can, like, slide left for, like, a more muscular character, but then you have to, like, drop down some of, like, the stamina or something? So, like, you change symptoms for, like, a more wide range type of spread thing. You know, I can't speak. It's, like, what, 1 o'clock? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. For me.
But like, okay, so like basically what I would be, you know, saying is like, okay, well, you know, you can be really deadly, but does that actually help you in the long run for becoming a competitive like player in the evolutionary scene? You know, will you survive longer like being really deadly, or is it more in your interests to be extremely mild and barely even let people know that they have the disease, and yet spread very quickly so that everyone becomes a carrier and you never really get competed away?
That feels like it'd be a good board game.
Yeah. So
it is a board game.
It is?
Like you could set it
What
online,
board game is it?
everyone play against each other and have like 300 different diseases all online at the same time. You know, it's not like, you know, on a board game you're limited maybe to like 4 or 5 diseases. But like online, you could be competing with everyone at once in real time. And then you could take the data from that. And this is the cool scientific part. You could take the data from that.
Now, this is the part where it complains with science.
Yeah. Okay, so you could take the data from that. Because, you know, like looking at the blood plague from World of Warcraft, right?
Still here.
What?
Hey, Nova.
Hi, Nova.
How you doing?
Blood plague.
What's up, boy?
Sorry to interrupt, but I gotta go. Bye.
Oh,
Don't die.
Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye.